read this book and decided that if this was good enough for the Fodio family, then by golly, they needed a Yantaru organization in Pittsburgh as well. So it was decided to launch an American Yantaru group in Pittsburgh at the turn of the millennium. Come on in. Are you?
Different class.
Okay, don't come in. But you're welcome. This Yantaru group was inspired directly by Asma'u's accomplishments. It was Sheikh Mohammed Sharif, who had studied at Sankore in Mali and then in Sudan and returned to Pittsburgh, and he was one who provided the impetus for this. Now, it was serendipitous that Asma'u's complete works appeared in print in 1997 for the first time. Now, people in the region know of Nana Asma'u, but a volume like this had not appeared, had not been pulled together, much less translated and printed. And when the Pittsburgh Yantaru organization was begun, the women contacted Jean Boyd and me to ask permission to put these online, and of course we were delighted for them to do that. Just by the way, because we knew that people in Nigeria would not have access to this volume, it would be too expensive and really could not get across the ocean without a lot of added expense, we gave the camera-ready copy to a group in northern Nigeria, and somehow some money was discovered somewhere, as one can do in Nigeria, and they found enough to do a run of this volume, which is the same volume, but you know, with pink on it, and this is the Nigerian edition of the collected works of Nana Asma'u. Now, prior to the publication of this, Jean Boyd had also produced this biography, The Caliph's Sister. And so it was on the strength of these two things, the story of Nana Asma'u's life and then the materials that she produced, that these American Yantaru were very interested in using her and her educational program as a model. So the concept of women's Yantaru groups spread among American Muslim communities. Like other Muslim women's organizations, these are devoted to education and social welfare. These two aims are endorsed by Quranic injunction with its consistent concern for the pursuit of knowledge and the protection of women and children, especially orphans and widows. In Islam, the aim of seeking knowledge transcends the importance of success in the world. But understanding this requires a certain worldview. Education is understood to be a means of fulfilling God's purpose for humankind. And this pursuit of knowledge, which leads one on the path to knowledge of God, is mandatory for all, regardless of gender. So this raises the objection often cited in Western scholarship on Islam. If gender equity is mandated in the Quran, why is it not fostered in all Muslim communities? Well, the American Yantaru website offers a clear response to this confusion in explanations of the movement's relevance to contemporary contexts. And they say here, we look at the world, I'm quoting from their website now, Nana Asma'u was in this world, and it bears so many similarities to our own, although it occurred in a different era. They list these points of similarity. They were dealing with Muslim women. Number one, they were dealing with Muslim men who would not teach their womenfolk or let them seek knowledge elsewhere. Number two, they were a minority in the land. There were a great number of non-Muslims and nominal Muslims. Number three, they were dealing with new converts and how to properly integrate them into society. Number four, they were dealing with interreligious marriage and the religious instruction of children who wouldn't get that kind of instruction at home. Number five, they were dealing with some men who oppressed their womenfolk, men who capitalized on the fact that their women were ignorant of this great religion. And number six, another problem in their society was Bori, the pre-Islamic spirit possession cult. which could be likened to neo-paganism, which is a problem in our society today, they say. And take your pick, whatever you would like to fill in as comparable in our society to Bori, the spirit possession cult then. So each issue cited here could be understood to be relevant to contemporary conditions of Muslim women in 21st century North America. The website commentary continues acknowledging that traditional education is central to the well-being of entire communities and provides for women knowing their social, political, and spiritual rights and obligations. Okay, the importance of Muslim women's knowing their rights is a consistent theme throughout Islamic communities. Now, my experience hearing this in Muslim communities was in Nigeria and Morocco and Turkey and in South Africa and in England over the past 30 years. In addition to fair and equitable treatment of women with regard to education, social welfare is at the heart of this Yantaro organization and reflects the centrality of attention to the Muslim community, the Ummah, a term that also evokes the concept of mother and reminds one of her importance in society. Several well-known sayings of the Prophet indicate the importance of the woman in family and community. I'm sure you know these. Paradise lies at the feet of the mother, respect the mother 3 times, and then the father, and so on. Now, social welfare endeavors range widely according to a community's needs. In Asma'u's time, when wars were raging, women undertook a multiplicity of obligations, from raising orphans to teaching wherever it was needed, organizing food for the army, distributing food to the poor, and otherwise overseeing the various needs of a society in upheaval. Contemporary Yantaro women followed their antecedents' example by tutoring, assisting with meal preparation, and providing in-home assistance as needed in the community, whether that neighborhood community is exclusively Islamic or not. A 2007 blog posting indicates that the kinds of activities in which these women engaged included providing food for the poor and assistance to refugees. And we'll get to that in a minute. What we have here is the U.S. national emirs of the Jama'at, and this would be Muslim American communities connected to Qadariya communities in West Africa. This is the Jama'at in Houston and in Pittsburgh and in San Diego. Yes, I'm just showing you the men right now because the women are separate from the men, but we'll get to the women. Save the best for last, right? This is an example of the online newsletter, the Yantaro newsletter. You see the date, October 2005. It came out every other month. You can see that there are many different categories. There's a poetry corner down here. There are sections on education. There are sections on food, sections on health. And the idea was to be a resource. This was the online O magazine for the women of the Pittsburgh Yantaro community. And here are some of the women in the Yantaro organization in Pittsburgh, and this one is still very active. It's a small group of families, and so a small number of women, but they do meet on a regular basis every Sunday for 2 hours or every other Sunday. The constraints are many. These women have jobs, they have small children, they have no extended family to help them take care of those family needs. And they're also trying to learn Arabic, and they're trying to study some of Asma'u's poems in advance in terms of knowing about Islam. But they are organized, they have their officials. This is an old list of Yantaro officials from that time of the first newsletter, but you see that they really are very well organized. Here is some